Today on Conversations That Convert, we're talking to Rusty Brett from HoundDog. Let's get started.
Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Every week, we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes tackling relevant lead generation, marketing, and sales topics for remodelers, home improvement companies, and home builders. Conversations That Convert is brought to you by Builder Lead Converter, your perfect sales assistant. And now, here's Rick and Diana.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Conversations That Convert. I've got a special guest on today, Rusty Brett from HoundDog. Rusty, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it.
So we met at a JobTread Connect conference, and Rusty was the sponsor along with me. And I remember looking at his banner, and it said COI on it. And I'm thinking, okay, I've been in this business a long time. I should know what COI means. And I was racking my brain. Finally, I had to come over and ask Rusty. He said, what does COI mean? So we're obviously going to jump into that answer. But before we get started, I'll give our audience a little background. You are the CEO of HoundDog, which is a platform that helps contractors and owner-operators operate certificate of insurance. There's the answer, ding, 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 tracking and reduce subcontractor risk. So before you founded HoundDog, you owned and operated an insurance agency that specialized in contractor insurance, and you work closely with builders, remodelers, and specialty contractors across many trades. And I think the problem you're trying to solve is you saw for years missing or incorrect insurance. Well, that creates a real financial risk, not just a paperwork headache, but for that, you built HoundDog, which really eliminates manual follow-ups and surface coverage gaps and brings clarity to insurance compliance for contractors of all types. So insurance, not the sexiest topic out there, but obviously it's one that we have to have, right? So give us a little bit of background, Rusty, on how you came up with the company.
Yeah. Like you said, I have an extensive insurance background, insured maybe not a million contractors, but a ton over the years. I basically for the last 25 years insured just a ton of contractors, from builders to remodelers, pool construction, anything along those lines. So what I saw along the way was a lot of contractors just struggling to keep up with subcontractor paperwork, which is difficult to do because you do these things manually. You have to get a COI from all of your subs. You're growing, things are crazy, and sometimes you miss those COIs. And so what I'd see from the agent side is some of my buddies, they become my friends, they'd miss a couple COIs. The insurance auditor would come in and say, hey, construction company, let me see who you paid last year. Now let me see all the COIs for those subcontractors. They'd miss a couple, and then they'd get another additional premium bill for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Like it can be brutal. So I saw these along the years, and I beg people, and I usually would see this, Rick, like in the beginning of like newer businesses. They're just trying to figure out things. They're trying to get some new business, and maybe their processes aren't as strong as they should be. Maybe they're a little bit lax on the subcontractor document tracking, COIs specifically, and they get caught. And these big premiums will come in. So it made me sick. I mean, these guys are my friends at some point, and I was like, I eventually sold my agency, and then was like, okay, I want to go solve this problem. And then just real quick, I got really lucky. Met a friend of mine who had a massive company, and we were having lunch, and he goes, Rusty, I'm tracking 20,000 COIs for my vendors. He's like, wow. It's a complete shit show. Oops, I'm not sure I should have said that, but it's a real problem for me to keep track of all these. He goes, go build this company. I know you have the background. Let's go build this, and gave us a little seed funding, and there we went. And so, that was 2022 at that point. We've launched. We're now nationwide, have clients in Canada as well. So HoundDog, what we do is automate the certificate of insurance tracking process. So we go out, we get insurance from either the sub or the agent, bring it in, read it, make sure it meets your requirements. If it doesn't, we tell people how to fix it. And then we automatically get renewals. So that's kind of the first product that we launched with, Rick. And then the next products after that, our contractors are like, hey, can you track W-9s? We're like, absolutely, we'll build it. Hey, can we also keep track of subcontractor agreements on your platform? Yeah. So basically we went from just COI tracking to full subcontractor document compliance.
Thus the name HoundDog, right? You'll go out and you'll find it and bring it home.
That's right. Yeah, we hound them a little bit, but it's good. Like, I mean, it's either our system hounds them, or our customer would hound them manually, and so we can take a lot of that off their plate.
Yeah, not real efficient for sure. And then obviously it's a recurring issue because that certificate's good for a year, right? And then it expires, and then like you got to do it all over again. So it doesn't ever end. And I suppose I think you mentioned to me at the show that average builder was it somewhere between 40 to 60 subcontractors at any one time? Is that right?
It's all over the map, though. I mean, so a lot of we were at the Job Trade conference, so a lot of those do seem to be in the 20 to 100 subs range. Like, that's a lot of what we see day in, day out. But like I said, there are some very big commercial construction companies that we work with that have 600, 700, 800. We just did a quote for 1,500. We have another quote out there for 30,000. So there's very big guys in the space that have these needs. Just they're bigger problems at scale. Mm-hmm. So instead of hiring, this one that has 30,000 has 13 employees, and they're going to have to expand to 26 on their growth pattern. So you're pitching, hey, bring us in. Let's don't have to hire nearly this many people.
Right.
Reduce the cost, and saves money all around, and time and hassle.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, worst case scenario is something happens, right? And you need that insurance, and you find out, the sub that it was on the job site didn't have an accurate insurance or didn't have a certificate. You mentioned that you were a $500,000 claim. You said that you just dealt with right now. So something happened there. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Actually, I forgot I told you that, but yeah, I think the biggest fear that I originally wanted to start the HoundDog about was the just tracking documents and getting audited, and that's a big problem. We always say, there's also additional risk if you don't get, in terms of general liability risk or work comp risk, if you don't get that COI. Well, I guess 3 weeks ago now, I got a call from, I think they'll be an eventual customer, but really great company. They only had 20 subs, and they had worked with this general contractor or this sub for a while. I forget what type of trade they were, but they worked with this sub for a while and trusted that they had renewed their insurance. Well, they hadn't. And so then that sub's employee got injured. $500,000 claim comes back to the general contractor. Their work comp, thankfully they had work comp. It did pay it, but big problems after. It paid it, but then they got dropped by their work comp carrier, and then they couldn't get insurance because every work comp carrier said, "You have an open claim for $500,000? No, sorry. Nope, sorry. No, yeah, we don't know who to get insurance from." So they're in real trouble, and that's another big reason to keep track.
And that's the worst case scenario, right? Is you need to use your insurance, and then you get dropped and can't get new coverage, or you can at very, very high rates. So let's go the converse. Conversely, though, if a builder is using, let's say, a system like yours to track their COI, does the insurance provider give a discount?
So I am not going to say that this is going to happen for sure in the future, but I did just hear that it happened. So one of our customers, really kind of an amazing testimonial, kind of stood up at this event that we were at and said, "If you guys don't get on HoundDog, you have to check it out." She goes, kind of went through this process, and she goes, and then at the end, they gave us a 12% discount because we are using HoundDog for compliance tracking. So I immediately wrote that down. I've talked to carriers since then. I want to work my butt off to try to get discounts for using our system because it's a no-brainer. What we do, I think, can save a lot of time, hassle, and risk. But if we can also bring in that insurance discount piece, obviously that's going to be amazing for.
Because obviously you're reducing the liability for the general carrier, with tracking all the subs. So it seemed to be it would make a lot of sense that would happen. But wow, wouldn't that be awesome for the industry? Is the discount offsets whatever the cost is, to bring you guys in. I just, I go back to homeowners insurance, right? I just did my annual review, and my insurance provider said, "Do you have a security system?" I said, "No, I don't." She goes, "Well, if you get a security system and it's monitored, you can save, I don't know, $600-700 a year. Oh, and by the way, the cost of the security system and monitoring was $200 a year." So it's like I'm making it up my first year. And obviously with something like this is that you could have that essentially pay for itself if that can come to fruition.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think the other piece too, Rick, is I was also on a panel same Job Trend Connect event, and we were on stage and trying to just get your ducks in a row. You're kind of talking about the alarms and some of these things. Well, I think every contractor from their subs should be getting a W-9, a COI, and a subcontractor agreement signed. Those are the three things. And at that panel, we did this poll. I think around 120 people were in that meeting, and 40% of the entire panel is all anonymous. So no one knew who anyone was. So they all participated. And 40% of that crowd had a subcontractor agreement in place. This is one of those things where I'm like, okay, you're growing fast. You're not thinking about some of these things, but just get one set, make them sign it, get the COI, get the W-9, just check at least those three boxes, and you're 95% of the way there, And so do those things just to get set.
So let's talk a little bit about how it works, because I was a GM of a custom builder, many years ago. And yeah, I remember every January, every year, I'm meeting with all the trades. I'm going through, we're getting subcontractor, stuff signed. We're getting our certificates updated. Accounting is working on W-9s, but it was a very laborious process going through this. Not that it's not good to meet with your trades and, get face-to-face with them and, talk about business, but now we have technology. You developed this system, but tell us a little bit more about how it works.
Yeah, fortunately, it's pretty simple. So we have, it's HoundDog.com is the name of the website, but essentially our team, if you have any listeners that are like, all right, let's move forward, we simply get the account set up originally for our customers just to make that really easy. So get logos in, get certificate holder information in, and get the insurance requirements in. So oftentimes that's, you guys need general liability and work comp, sometimes more complicated, more commercial focused, maybe general liability, work comp, auto, umbrella. We get all this set up. In the beginning, oftentimes, looking at MSAs or subcontractor agreements to get the final details. And then once that account's created, all we're doing is loading in whoever your vendors or whoever your subcontractors are. And I need a subcontractor name and email, and that's it. And so we know, basically after that, we just hit a go button. And well, if we have COIs, we will have loaded those in before. If you know that they're going to expire, 10/1 of 26, and that's a future date, then we'll load that in, so all's good. But whoever is missing a COI or at all or expired, then we automatically go out and then start reaching out to that sub. If we get a COI, we're not only getting the COI, but we're also pulling the agent's information off of those COIs. So we're able to contact both agent and sub at that point. Sure. But we pull everything into the system, who's compliant, who's not, if they're missing things, we have the ability to send our customers like an email notification. Hey, we've reached out to these guys 4 times for a COI, and now they're completely unresponsive, or their agent's unresponsive. Send an email to our customer saying, hey, you might want to call these guys. So, so it's really, the whole thing is automated from, and it's like anything. We're going to get the majority of those COIs. There's going to be some people that you have to, threaten with their lives or threaten with their paychecks. Hey, we can't let you on this job without this. Contractors have that unique ability to be able to kind of hold that a little bit, but you have to have that insurance. If you don't, you get charged it. So that's, and most contractors know that. So yeah, we just automate a lot of the manual hassle. And then one of the cool things that I think we built, Rick, is each year, most of these guys get audited. Some of you probably haven't yet, but be ready for it just in case. Again, the auditor comes in and says, who have you paid? Who are your subs? Now let me see all the COIs from those subs. So what I want to do, and this is when we first launched, I was like, we're launching with this. I don't care. I'm an insurance guy, So we built in this audit tool. So basically, our customer gets audited. They put in their audit period. Let's say it's 3/1 of 05 to 3/1 of 06 or 26. Not that those dates make much sense, but you put in those dates and click download, and it aggregates all those COIs that we have on file into a single folder. So that auditor comes in and says, who'd you pay? And then you can just say, here's the folder, and make that audit process really simple. With big customers, like 400, 500, 1,000, COIs or more, that will save a weeks of time often, just with that one simple tool.
Yeah, that's interesting. So really it's a sort of set it and forget it. And it's, unless it's a problem, you just do what you do and you don't have to deal with it. You've always got an active certificate of insurance from this particular subcontractor. The other thing I love about that is genius too. It's like, I don't have to chase down my subs. I can go right to their agent and get it that way too. So, because, obviously, that's the last thing you really want to talk to your subs about is, by the way, send me your certificate of insurance. There's a few other more pressing issues.
Actually, the first call to action, Rick, we say when we send them a request that says this is what you have to have, first call to action to them is just forward this to your agent. You don't have to do anything. Just put in your agent's name and email address, click send. That's all you have to do. So we try to make it easy for our customers, but also easy for their subs.
And is there like an electronic portal where they can just upload the certificate through the email that you send them? It
is. It's just drag and drop into the email, essentially.
Yeah. So that's, can't make it a whole lot easier than that. And W-9s and same way?
Exact same way. So they have an option. They can upload them themselves, or they can actually fill out the W-9 on a form that we have. Then any other agreements, MSA, subcontractor agreements, same thing. It's just basically a DocuSign, just send it, get it signed, we get it back. So
for those subcontractor agreements, do you provide a template, or does the builder have to upload their own?
Yeah, to be honest, I have a couple that I'll send out, but it's always with the caveat of you need to look at this. Like something is better than nothing. I'm not your attorney, but here are a couple ways to start, and then you guys kind of figure it out from there. So we do that quite often.
Yeah, I'm sure every state has different laws and ordinances and that sort of thing. It's some cities sometimes as well.
Right.
No, that is very, very interesting. So so you've gotten to this point and you're focusing now on the subcontractor agreements, the W-9s, the certificates of insurance. What's next for you? Like, what does the future look like?
Yeah, so we keep doing, we're doing a lot of things with AI, in mind. Like everything that we do really, what's kind of funny, Rick, is I'm using AI like everyone so much on the background for composition, for writing things, for getting emails updated in our system. Like all that's really been helpful, just the advent of AI for content creation and ongoing content. But yeah, so we're doing a lot of things that we're really interested in the future. So we've built out our platform in ways where it's really kind of focused on the subcontractor experience, like getting things for the subs. But we are also really looking in 26 about kind of creating this My Stuff area where our customers can also keep their own information and even like their insurance policies, their agent information, request CUIs that they need to request. So we're looking at that for 2026. We also know when people need to have coverages and they don't. I go out and I ask for a GL and work comp and we get back GL. I know that person's missing work comp. And so we're also working on a work comp solution to help those subs that are missing coverages that they're missing. So I think those are two big lifts that we're looking at in 2026, mainly just trying to continue to solve problems that we see.
Right. So if I understand the My Stuff space correctly, is that it's to remind you of like to go out and get these pieces of information that you need for your own business, not just for your subs. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think, most of our customers, when they think of HoundDog, they think of insurance, and they're like, well, not just sub insurance, but maybe what can you do for me? Let's keep tracking subs, but what else can you do? And I think those are some of the problems that we want to solve within that section is, where's your policy? Oh, it's right here. Oh, do you need to request a CUI? Do you need to create a blank certificate to give them an example? All these things would really be more focused on our customers themselves rather than their subs being compliant. Yeah. And so, just trying to bring additional value. And these are asks from, you listen to feedback and you iterate based off of that. And that's what we hear and that's what they want. So, that's certainly something we can build. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Next, the big question. How much? How much, Russ?
Yeah. So, I'll just say this in, broad terms. Our pricing is based off of parties tracked. So let's say I'm just going to use round numbers here. Let's say you have 100 subs, it'd be $100 per month and an additional fee if you want to do MSAs or subcontractor e-signing. So just think about that way. You have 200 subs, $200 a month, and then an additional fee if you want to do the additional signings, not much more, $20-$30 per month more. But that's the basic model. We have a minimum of $40 per month. So, that would cover you up to essentially 40 subs. And so, that's the basic pricing model. Again, if you want to do the signing portion, a little bit more.
Excuse the pun, but that's cheap insurance.
So look, I'm from, the middle of the US. We're not an East or West Coast company that's have these huge capital costs. Like, you're in Minnesota, I'm in Missouri. We just want a fair price. I actually really just watched how JobTread works. We've said this 100 times, but that's a SaaS company that I just envy. They have the right product, they have the right people, they have the right pricing. They're doing everything right. They're listening to their customers. We just want to do that at a reasonable cost. So, that's what we want to do. We think we provide a lot of value at that price range. And, again, I'm not here to, extort people. I'm just here to have a fair price and for people to feel good about, what the kind of money they're putting in.
And if somebody is listening to this and they want to check you out, you mentioned there might be a little incentive or a discount for one of our listeners.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you asked that. So basically we have an onboarding fee. There is a lot of setup in this, not only between the account, but also setting up these documents that have to be templated out. For all of your listeners, we'll completely waive the onboarding fee, which has just always been a one-time thing, but we'll completely waive that. That's anywhere from $150 to $1,000. So completely waived on this for any of your listeners.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. HoundDog.com. If someone's interested, is that what they should do? Go to your website?
Yeah, a couple ways. You can go to the website and then book a demo if you'd like to book a demo, or just shoot me an email, rusty@HoundDog.com. 2 Ds, by the way. We do see some errors there, but yeah, rusty@HoundDog. Shoot me an email if you're interested, or certainly go to the website, read more, book a demo if you'd like. And yeah, obviously love to help.
We'll put your link in our the bio or the description for this video, as well as in the blog post. So wherever you're watching this, look below and you'll be able to see it. HoundDog with 2Ds.com. Rusty, any final thoughts for you? It's been very informative.
No, I think what you do is awesome. Generate leads for, on the sales, marketing, website, SEO side. Like I think you do a lot of things well, and you can help businesses scale. I think that we're just that, okay, let's maybe get these systems and operations set and then scale. I think it's sometimes better to take one step back, just do basics first and then scale. And so I love what you do. I know you do a really, really good work. I've seen it happen all around me. So, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. And then I think both what we do and together kind of fits well.
Absolutely. Yeah. You cannot scale without having the operations side figured out. As a matter of fact, before you launch in any sort of client acquisition campaign, you got to have operations figured out, because otherwise you just compound your issues. And obviously one of those is certificate of insurance. Not a real sexy topic, but obviously when it goes wrong, it can go sideways and big time and shut you down. I suppose not that's happened many times before. So last thing we want to see is that. HoundDog.com. Rusty, thanks so much for jumping in here today. It's been really interesting. And again, we'll put your link below here. And for my brothers and sisters in Christ, may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you always. We'll see you next time on Conversations That Convert.